Welcome to Black Man Lab. We are live the 1st of March. We have a great conversation this evening, and I'm really looking forward to delving into our subject matter tonight. But before we get into that, I want to introduce our founder, one of our co-founders, as well as our guiding light for Black Man Lab, my brother, Maoli Davis. Maoli.
What's up, fam? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Black Man Lab. As you all know, we have been virtual for the last, since the pandemic. We usually are in the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA, getting it in. Normally, we would have between 150, 250 brothers from the age of 5 to 85, right? Imagine that kind of intergenerational dialogue and conversation. And it's all about having a safe and sacred space for Black men where we can come, we can be, we can vibe. Just want to shout out to Undugu Brothers. They had their second year anniversary yesterday. I was honored to be a part of that gathering. They are doing some tremendous work, one of our brother organizations that deal with the Black men. So the focus and the energy for Black Man Lab is just all about reaching our young brothers. And because we are virtual, it's also reaching sisters. How do we connect with our young ones and get information to them that empower them in a way that they're able to surpass anything that we could even imagine? And so tonight is, we're excited about these entrepreneurs, these business minds, and really financial gurus who will share today from different perspectives. And so, Marty, Joe, thank you all for always holding this space in the way that you do. On behalf of the entire Black Man Lab board and everybody associated with the program, we just say, Asante Sana, thank you very much. We are intentionally, unapologetically Black, y'all. And so we just got to do what we know we got to do in the spirit of our ancestors and those that will come after us. And so don't let the bow tie and the blazers fool you, or those beautiful t-shirts that my boys are wearing, and I got to get one on. It's all about these young warriors that we want to continue to build and grow. So with that, I think it might be time for us to do what we traditionally do. And Brother Joe, you want to get us centered, and then if Brother Jared isn't on, I can do a libation, and we can roll.
Yeah, let's do that. Joe, get it centered, and Molly, you do the libation. We can get busy.
Absolutely. So again, welcome everybody. Glad to have everybody here. So the tradition that we do each week, whether we're in the lab around one another, or we're virtual in this space, we still want to get centered. There's a lot of great information, a lot of wisdom nuggets that's going to be dropped. Whether it's the libation and bringing the ancestors into the room, or the wisdom of these brothers that are going to be telling us about their involvement in day trading, how they got into it and how they work their ways around it. Whatever it is, it's so much value. So what we want to do is we want to be in a place where we can receive. We can receive the ancestors coming in. We can receive this knowledge. So we simply center ourselves. And all we do there is we just take a few deep breaths. And so what I would ask us to do as we get started here is just to take a couple of deep breaths with me. We're going to inhale, exhale, get squared away, and then we're going to go right into bringing the ancestors in. So let's start with just one deep breath. So if you could, inhale for me. Nice deep breath. Now exhale. I can't hold it as long as some of you guys. That's impressive, Marty and Molly. I saw y'all, man. Y'all holding it in. That's great, man. It is. You want to expand your lungs. You want to really breathe it in. You're breathing in life, man. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they talked about you're breathing in the spirit, and that is what we're doing. We want to make sure that we breathe in this positive energy that's ready to come our way, and we exhale all the worrisome, but the bothersome things that may have been with us. Just let it fall off our back and be in this space. So once again, let's take one more big inhale. And then exhale it out. Exhale it out. And let's get ready for our ancestors. Bring on in.
All right. Thanks.
Brothers and sisters, our tradition is one that is as old as we are. It is the tradition of honoring our ancestors, and we do it a special Black Man Lab way. And you can travel the African diaspora, whether you're on the continent of Africa or you're on the corner of Chicago. We do libations. We just do it in different ways. The brothers on the corner of Chicago might be pouring out a little liquor. Just remembering those who are no longer with us. But we know that on the continent, the libations are poured, and wherever we find ourselves, we pour and honor our ancestors and just really acknowledge that energy, that energy that flows through all of us and whose shoulders we literally stand on as a people. And so we first ask that we pause and recognize those ancestors who were builders of civilizations, those in Nubia and Kemet, those in Songhai that built the classical African civilizations that were unquestionably Black, beautiful, and proud in those glory years, centuries, far more than what we've experienced in the drought that we currently exist in. And so we just say to those ancestors, Ashe, just with your right fist, Ashe. Then we think of those ancestors who fought when they were forcibly removed from our mother fatherland, those who organized in what we in Dugu and other organizations are into modern day quilombos. And these quilombos may have been in Brazil, known as Palmares states. They may have been in Haiti when they freed themselves. It may have been in Jamaica, known as the Maroons, or in Georgia, or in Florida, where we stole away into a swamp and then we built community and we built safe and sacred spaces like we're building here. And so we remember those warrior ancestors, Ashe.
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 And then we just want to acknowledge those ancestors who on this soil known to be North America, where we have the Gabriel Prossers, the Nat Turners, the Sojourner Truths, the Harriet Tubmans, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Betty Shabazz, Coretta Scott King. We want to just acknowledge them. Ashe.
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 And finally, we will just, those that are yet born, those that will come one day. And when they come, they will wonder what we did. And if our work is true and pure, they'll remember us and they'll call our names collectively. And so those beautiful ones not yet born, we say Ashe.
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 Ashe. All right. Thank you, Maoli. Thank you, Joe. It's so important for us to be in a space that our mind is open, our hearts are open, and we are willing to take in information that's for the good of our people, right? Ultimately, what we want is for those that come behind us to feel our love and to feel everything that we have experienced in a positive way. So that brings us to where we are today. Tonight, we are talking about the day trading and making the stock market work for you. So there's a lot here. There's a lot going on in the stock market these days. A lot more interest than used to be when I was young. I see a lot more young folks that have some interest in it, and we have some on our panel tonight. So with that, let me start with introductions. And I'm just going to go around the horn here and ask each of you guys to give a quick introduction of yourself and let the Black Man Lab world know who you are. I'll start with Justin. Can you give your intro for yourself, brother?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. My name is Justin Winston. I was Morehouse graduate class of 2016, majored in economics and math as a minor. So I've always wanted to stay close to the finance or economic side of things and had a pretty deep interest in the market. Growing up, my dad was a banker, so he really instilled in us the faith and value of putting away and saving money and making sure you always had something set aside for yourself and those that you care about. So going along that trend, I decided to major in economics, and after graduation, moved on to work for Cisco Systems as a business analyst, where I wasn't too far away from the analytical side of things, but not as close to the numbers and finance side as I wanted to be. So as I went on a few years there, made the transition to work for Ernst & Young, now serving in a MBA role at Mercury Business Advisors, one of the systems they use to keep track of the financials and things on their projects. And so serving in that internal role, I'm able to kind of use my analytical and financial skills a little bit more. But what I really have an interest in and have always been practicing is learning the market and day trading. And I've been involved in that since I graduated college. So that was been about 4 or 5 years now, where I've been consistently looking to make profits and earn some income through the market.
Great stuff, brother. Great stuff, man. So you had a very good advantage in that your dad was a banker, and you were that was poured into you at an early age. So it's great to see that you're moving with that at such a young age, man. Congratulations with that, and we're gonna lean on you. We're gonna lean on you to lean on other young folks, man. So thank you, young brother Nana.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. First and foremost, my name is Nana Preko. I graduated from Howard University in 2008. You know. Yeah, you caught me off guard there. But so graduated in 2018. I graduated with a finance degree. And so when I graduated from college, I actually moved to Atlanta in 2018 to work as an investment banker with SunTrust Robinson Humphrey, which is now Truist Securities. So as far as day trading goes, it's interesting because I personally found out about, I always knew about the stock market, but I personally, although I have a stock portfolio, I day trade currencies and commodities. So foreign exchange, gold, things of the sort. And I personally became privy to that in 2016. So that was my sophomore year of college. And I think I kind of just stuck close to it since then until I graduated, and eventually was able to leave my corporate job to just pursue that full time. And so I was very happy to hear when Kobe reached out to me. You know, I'm happy to just drop any gems I can.
Awesome. Great. We appreciate having you here, young brother. And we can't wait to hear any gems that you have. Last but definitely not least, my brother Jason Swanston. Jason.
Yes. Thank you so much. Good evening, gentlemen. It's an honor and a pleasure to be amongst like-minded brothers on this panel. Very short and brief. My name is Jason Swanston. I am a CEO of a startup tech company called OVNIO. We're launching a cable TV social network that basically merges various different user experiences under one particular TV experience. I've been in the tech space since '93, on the streaming tech side, as well as the digital strategy, now known as social media side, for 2 decades in the entertainment industry. I saw a lot of brothers and sisters just lose a lot of their money because they had no financial literacy, and there wasn't anything I really could do because I was privy to the information at an early age due to the fact that I entered Columbia University at 15. So being in that particular milieu of kids that didn't come from my area of the world, I noticed they were talking about, finances, and they were talking about, stock portfolios as well as trust funds. And so as I got into the music industry and I started to work around various different artists, I realized that this information was literally and deliberately being withheld from us, or we were relying on other people to basically build out our portfolios and diversify our portfolios in terms of the artists themselves. So I said to myself, you know what, I wanted to do something about it. So as I got out of the music industry, I said, you know what, I want to be part of the solution as opposed to just talking about it. And I started a investment group on Facebook called Black Investor Stock Group, in which I invite seasoned traders, day traders, as well as investors, angel investors, people in the VC world, people in the hedge fund world, as well as non-accredited investors and beginners to basically commingle and learn from each other. We just share information about how to literally get out of the actual financial rut. So by me being in the actual tech space, as well as now in the financial space with regards to helping our people, that's literally where the mission is at this particular point. And I'm very excited to just give value to the panel. And so thank you so much, guys, for having me. Thank you, Marty. I truly appreciate it.
Glad to have you, brother.
Brothers, I just want to start, man, first by just salute for you all being in this space and being willing to share knowledge and information. One of the things that always amazes me is when I hear people speak these different myths about our people, right? And that one of the myths that I have personally refute every chance I get is that Black people won't support Black business. I wouldn't even be here. This Davis Bozeman Johnson wouldn't exist if that were a reality, you know? And so I want to start with you all with the first question around what is the one myth that you have encountered or that you think is out there about Blacks in day trading or just day trading in general that you want to just go ahead, dispel off the top, and then we can dig down into some of the convo and you all really talk at a deeper level. But I've always found that dispelling myths on the top side is helpful. So Justin, you want to start, and then Nana will come to you, and then Jason.
Yeah, one myth that I want to pretty much get out of the way is that it's hard to start. So even though they have complex systems, and it used to be back in the day, depending on how long or far back you want to go, you needed to have a broker to set up an account and actually place trades on the market for you. But nowadays, with the advent of new technology, and as we even go more into the mobile phone era, there's a lot of ways for you to open up account both with an established long-time broker or some of these newer firms and models where you don't have to necessarily pay as much in day trading fees. So it's pretty easy to start. You don't have to even go as complex into owning individual stocks and doing due diligence behind that. You can go out there and find some of these platforms where you can either do a specific subsector of the market, low risk investments, or if you feel like you want to get your feet wet and jump in, you can open up a account with an established broker and, you know, start making those pretty more complex trades.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Go ahead, jump in, brother.
Yeah, Justin, I totally agree. I think the biggest myth that comes to my mind is the fact that the myth that you cannot create a sustainable career day trading, or that you cannot create a sustainable career investing because it's too aligned with gambling. I think a lot of people associate day trading with risk, and so, you know, they're quick to point out the fact that a large percentage of retail traders lose money. That's not a lie. A large percentage of retail traders lose money. But I think it's very important to know that it is very easy to make a living day trading. It's very easy to supplement your income in the financial market so long as you're disciplined and you can handle your greed and risk to reward and things like that. Mm-hmm. But essentially, you just want to go from being the gambler to being the casino. And in that case, you could create a career out of it.
Mm. I have a question for you, Nana. You said a retail trader. Can you we got to define things, and then Justin, if you can, I'm going to come right back to you really quick, and if you can just say what day trading fees are, right? We want to be educated as we go. So Nana, you go first. When you use the term retail traders, what's that mean?
Right. So retail traders are people like you and me, everybody on this Zoom call, anybody who's an individual who may decide to get up and go partake in the financial markets tomorrow. Because we have to remember that banks also partake in financial markets, institutions partake. And so you've got these banks, you've got these institutions who are able to, utilize their resources. And then you have retail traders who are kind of just trying to get in where they can fit in. So the disciplined retail traders win like the institutions.
Got you. Okay. Justin, day trading fees.
So day trading fees is kind of associated with the cost of trading. It used to be most platforms you would have to pay a price to the broker for them to take your order to the market. So when you're buying or selling a stock, it's usually fulfilled by a broker on the stock exchange that says we have this person want to sell this stock or commodity or whatever utility at a certain price, and the other person, somebody else on the market, is going to either accept or reject that. So you had to pay that broker a fee for them to take your order to the market, and that has kind of been cut down on cost as we upgraded the technology. It used to take time for you to call in and have to tell your broker, I want to sell 5 or however many number of shares that you own, or you wanted to buy a certain number. And now it's almost instant where you can send your order out through a message on your computer, on your phone, and it gets fulfilled in that same technology marketplace. So that's just the fees associated
real
with that.
Brief, Justin, just real brief, and don't have to be specific because it ranges to this, I understand. But give an example of what a fee might be. Is it $2? Is it $200? Is it $20? Like order of magnitude, what would an example fee be?
So
just real brief.
Some exchanges, the fees anywhere from 10 cents to 50 cents per trade you make. And then some other exchanges, they also make it a percentage of the number of shares that you want to trade. So, and then other exchanges, they have 0 fees for trading, where every order you buy and sell is going straight to the market, no cost. It's whatever you can get fulfilled for it.
Solid. Thank you, brothers. Brother Jason, come on in. A myth. You've been at this for a long time, brother, and it's good to hear the transition, your movement across these different spaces, because so often we get kind of pigeonholed, into you were just in the entertainment industry, and where other folk, they get to be, the Renaissance man, and like, hey, we the same, right? We started the Renaissance, so
right.
Love to see your movement across these different areas. Talk about the myths that you like to dispel right off about either day trading or blacks in day trading. Anything you have.
Well, I like to dispel the myth in terms of just blacks investing in general. Day trading is one aspect, but you have investors that trade options. You have investors that go throughout the whole gamut of various different exchanges, whether it's the New York Stock Exchange or whether they're trading on the Nikkei, the Japanese exchange, as well as now we have exchanges that allow you to purchase cryptocurrency, which is called cryptocurrency exchanges, right? So the myth I really want to dispel is the fact that we are unintelligent in terms of understanding the various different nuances. I started my company, my marketing firm, in the late 90s on Wall Street. And I remember people would saying, why would you get an office on Wall Street? Why don't you just have your office in Harlem or in Midtown where Universal Records and, or Def Jam is located? And I said, well, because that's where the money is. The money is on Wall Street, And I said, if I'm going to hire my people to market, Jay-Z and DMX and all these guys, I want them to understand that the real money is on Wall Street. There's and we're talking about the late 90s during the dot-com boom. So I was able to hire about 1,200 inner city promoters throughout 32 markets. And they would come to my office. We're talking about 50 at a clip. And they would see these floor brokers when the NASDAQ would close at 4:30, they would see these floor brokers come out and just like kind of like hang out, or they would go to the train, and they would ask me. They would say, the kids would ask me, well, who is that? What do they do? And I would explain to them, these are brokers, and you can be part of this particular milieu. You can be part of this particular arena, this arena of people that are changing their lives financially. Just because we come from the inner city doesn't mean that we don't know how to comprehend how to trade or learn how to trade and the various different nuances. And now the great thing with technology, we have access, like the young brother said, we have access through a mobile device where we can get all information at the palm of our hands and at our fingertips. The only thing is that we just have to understand how to search for the information, share the information, okay, and then execute and study. So I just want to dispel the myth that we are intelligent human beings. We are intelligent Black people that know specifically what we want to do, how we want to spend our money. And I'm glad that I'm alive to see more and more young people literally wake up and realize that their Black dollars matter.
Right. So you're not going to get off that easy, brother. I have a follow-up question. You got to clarify some things for
Sure.
the listening audience. I know Joe is going to come in next with a round of questions. Right now, when you say options, people say stocks and options. And I know this is very basic, but we don't ever want to assume that our people, know certain things. We just want to make sure that everything. Explain that. When you say an option, what is that? What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you like this. I want the young brothers to explain it. I don't want to explain it. I want the young brothers. I want to throw it to the young brothers because I love the way young brothers explain the various different definitions nowadays because they use layman terms. And I don't want to get too technical. So I want to pass to either Brother Justin, or Brother Nana. Yes.
Yeah, I think Justin would be better to speak on that because that's a little bit more in his realm.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so the way I look at options is it's a contract giving you the right to purchase something. So it's not necessarily the stock itself, but it's a contract saying I have the right to purchase this stock at this point in period of time. So they usually come with the expiration date. And the way options work is you're basically betting on a certain strike price for that stock to be. So if you see particular, let's say like Amazon, everybody knows, familiar with them, they trade around in the 2,000 and 2,500 area. So you can have various option contracts in that range saying that we think this price or stock will be this price by this date. And if you guess or know your knowledge enough correctly to be in the money on that date, which is what we call having that option actually set at that strike price, then you'll be making a profit by the time it expires. Or if there are different ways to play them, but that's usually the way people go about it, is they're betting on the price of a stock before a certain date.
Right.
Thank you.
Awesome. And this is what the Black Man Lab is all about, giving the stage to our next generation.
That's it.
I just want to add that although I don't particularly purchase or trade options, one benefit of options as opposed to other routes of investing, like for instance, when I execute a position, I buy or sell, I'm immediately in the position, right? So I'm immediately making money or losing money.
Right.
The benefit of an option is that you can say, by looking at the chart, you can say, all right, I want to buy, Amazon is trading at this amount right now, but I'm going to buy it at this discount, or I want the option to purchase it at this discount. And so the beauty of that is that once price hits that strike price, like Justin mentioned, you now have the option to even exercise that position. If you don't even want to get into the position, or AKA you don't want to buy the stock, you can just sell the option that you own, because people are like, oh, this person owns the right to buy this at a lower price than where it's currently at. And so that's a huge benefit of options and something that I like about options.
Yep.
That's a great point. Yeah, I'm sorry, Marlon. Were you about to say something, brother? That's a great point, man. And what I want to do is,
how y'all doing?
Hey, what's going on, bro? Who we got there?
It's Joshua.
Hey, what's going on, my dude?
Barker?
How you doing, good brother? Glad to see you on here. What I want to do, man, is all three of y'all just talked about, and this for anybody. I know we have Josh that just joined, and I think I saw Odie. Did I say it right, brother? All right. So we have some, and Kobe. Of course, Kobe's here. So anybody that wants to jump in and say this, but what I want to do, man, is Attorney Davis has done a great job of kind of leading this into a very educational forum. And I like that because sometimes, we kind of get into answering specific questions more, and it's less ability to learn some of the things. So what I want to ask is, y'all just talk about different things, options and commodities and stocks and so forth. And I know when I first got involved, I was doing futures. And so what I want to ask, because as Brother Jason, I'm sure with your expertise in the diverse groups that you're leading, there's no one way to do it. It's a multitude of ways. So what I want you all to do is just talk about what has worked for you and maybe why. And when I say that, I mean specifically, was it commodities? Was it options? Was it futures? Like, what did it specifically work for you? And maybe what didn't work for you? What did you get in and say, you know what, this isn't a good fit for me. I'm going to divest and I'm going to go do this. So if we could, Nana, if we could start with you on that, bro, I'd like to, hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the question is, what has worked for me? And, I think there could be a million answers for this, but the answer that I want to give is you got to understand that day trading, the financial markets, what you're doing essentially is risking money to make money every single time. Every time you place a trade, every time you enter a position, the whole act of day trading is using money to make more money, right? And so what's that like? That's a lot like going to the casino. That's a lot like gambling. You get what I'm saying? It's not like a steady paycheck where you just get paid. And so when you ask what has worked for me, I think what is just standard across all markets, no matter what type of trading that you're doing, is that in order for you to be successful, in order for you to make money, make profit over the long term, you have to have a system. And your system has to make it so that you don't need to bank on any one position or any one trade, because over a large population of trades, your system is going to prove to be profitable. And so when I say system, there's like two parts to that. There's the system, your approach to entering a position. Some people look at all technicals, fundamentals, whatever it is. What are the things you look for that make you enter a position, right? And once you find that there are these things that when I see this and I enter a position that works out for me, that's an edge. The second half of the system is risk management, and that's the most important part. Whether, whatever it is that you're doing, you have to go into it knowing that every time I enter a position, I'm hoping to risk less than I'm hoping to make. And that's what's worked for me, especially because I have a system so that any trade that I take will have a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So meaning that I'm going to be risking 1% to win 3% on any given trade that I take, right? And so with that system, I can lose 7 out of 10 trades, every 10 trades that I take, and still make more money than I lost, because my risk to reward parameters are just, they work out that way.
Okay. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
So
Very good.
Before you go, real quick, for those that are listening, I I just want to be clear on the word position. I know what that means, but I want to make sure that our audience knows what you mean by position. Now.
Yeah, I mean, so taking a position means buying or selling a stock or a currency pair or a commodity. Saying that, all right, price is currently here. I think it's going to go up or I think it's going to go down. And so because of that, I'm taking the position of selling or I'm taking the position of buying. And so that's what I mean when I say position.
Gotcha. Thanks. I want all we have in this world of stock market, as we talk about day trading, there's a lot of terminology that your average Joe may or may not know, and we want to make sure that we're getting that education out there. And I'll speak for myself. I'm newer to it myself, so I had to learn all these things. So it's important that those folks that are listening learn as well. So keep going. I'm sorry, I jumped in.
And this is a great opportunity as you guys are educating. Keep in mind, we have a forum of people that are listening that something's going to click for them. Something's going to say, okay, I didn't understand all that, but that I got. That's what I want to jump on. So don't hesitate to talk about what you think might be a good fit or not, because it's different for different folks. So Justin, you want to jump in there?
Yep. So can you run the question back by me one more time? I want to make sure I answer all parts of it, but I want to say it was what was working for you and what wasn't.
Yeah, just real simple. Tell us what specifically, what has worked for you. I think you mentioned options. Was it options? Was it commodities?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what has worked for you or what didn't work for you?
Right. So I would say that I've liked to stick to what I know in the market.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely started off trading stocks for a few years, and for the most part was researching companies or different entities that I had personally had an interest in. One of the big things was video games. I played them a lot. I know the market pretty well. I know what I want to buy and what my friends are buying. So by doing that, I was just only taking it a step further to research the best companies in that market. So definitely sticking to what you know, no matter what you're trying to get into, is one of the best ways to start out, and then you can expand from there. So from the stocks, I expanded into options trading last year, and one of the best things that I've learned from that is patience is really key. It's not just the timing or what you're trying to do in the market, but how much time you can put in and last in the market. So one thing that I read was that quote that stuck by me was, markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So one thing to do is kind of know when to cut your losses. That's something I'm working to improve more this year, where if I see something's going against me, I'm going to stick to my plan, like how Nana said. I hope I didn't mispronounce that. I apologize if I did, but just knowing what your risk reward is, and if you see that the risk is getting too big for what you're going to win or hopefully gain from it, exit that position and move on to the next one. There's always opportunities in the market. You just have to know where to be looking.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Justin. Want to hear the response from a couple other people. Jason, you want to weigh in on that, brother?
Yeah, I know that that the two brothers spoke. I'll be very, very brief because I can be long-winded. Yeah, so what worked for me was trading stocks and just maintaining my risk by way of researching entities that pay dividends, right? I needed dividends. I realized that when I was on Wall Street and I saw those floor brokers walk back and forth, and I would see Donald Trump and I would see Warren Buffett come out of the New York Stock Exchange, and these people were like, these guys are the rainmakers, in the stock market. And we're talking about the 90s. I said, you know what? Well, I'm gonna get some books and I'm gonna read. So doing your due diligence is very, very important, on these companies, researching these companies. And keep in mind, back in those days, we didn't have Google. We had Netscape Navigator, right? And AOL search. So, right. So, and we had Barnes and Nobles, right? So I had to go. So I got the book. I got Buffettology, which is Warren Buffett's book. Berkshire Hathaway is his company. And he's a billionaire. He's one of the masters at trading. And he said something that was very interesting. He said, if you want to get in, you should basically own stock. You should own a stock or a piece of a company in which you use their services from, right? And he said, go into the refrigerator. And he said, open the refrigerator up, and if you don't own stock in the companies that you are basically consuming, then you're going about it the wrong way. I go about it where I buy stock in companies that I'm familiar with, which is what Justin was speaking to earlier, with video games. I'm a gamer as well. I used to be a gamer, and the thing is that when I understood what Warren was saying, I said, you know what, this is how I'm going to approach my particular position, my strategy in terms of diversifying my portfolio. So over the course of years, what I did was I just started to buy various different stocks and trade stocks, whereas I looked up, and next thing you know, I have stock in 160 companies, and it's a good thing, because at the end of the day, when you look around your environment, and if you realize that you see mass people buying mass product from a particular company that you have stock in, you're going to basically make money. It's going to, it's going to increase, especially if a company is aggressive, like an Amazon, like a Netflix. If they're really aggressive in the market, they're not going anywhere. Google's owned by Alphabet. They're not going anywhere. But if you understand a particular vertical market like gaming, if you understand a particular vertical market like the auto industry, if that's your niche, right, then from a strategical standpoint, walk into that particular area and start to research the various different entities that are the Goliaths of those particular entities, and they won't sway you wrong. You will make money, and you'll have a great position, and you'll diversify your portfolio. So that's basically how I became successful in terms of investing.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Marty, before I flip it back to you, because this is just like such valuable information to drop in, I wanted to open it up if Odie or Kobe or one of the other brothers on here, if you want to speak up and, just kind of talk about your experience and what has worked for you, please chime in, fellas.
I would. So my name is Odie Atkins. I graduated from Howard University with Josh and Kobe. I worked for a brokerage firm after graduating. I have my Series 7. I work at Wells Fargo right now. And so I do options. Options was my ticket, my golden ticket. And what I was just going to add that I didn't hear mentioned was that something about options that I would like to say is I tried to make as much money as I could off the least amount of money that I could, because I was also, trying to budget, and, life is happening. So if you can't afford to exercise the option, right? So if you buy an option, that means you have to buy 100 contracts, or you have to, when you sell an option, you have to buy 100 contracts, after. So you can also sell the option, in which you don't have to exercise it. So if you buy an option for $100 for the right to buy 100 Tesla shares, if you don't have $800,000 to buy 100 shares of, $800 Tesla, you can just sell that contract to somebody who does have the money, and you can still make money off of the, the minimum capital that you put in. So I just did want to add that. The second thing that I wanted to add was people that touched on risk management. I wanted to add the psychology of it. Risk management is really important because the psychology of trading. When you risk manage correctly, you don't trade with emotions. Like how Nana said, he bets $100 to win 300. He knows if that 100 goes to zero, that's just part of his risk management. He already he's not worried about it when he gets to 50. He's not checking the stock over and over again and letting his emotions lead his trade. He goes based off of his strategy. And because you have risk management in place, it helps you be in the right mindset. You're not getting surprised by making or losing the money. You're not being on your toes. And the last thing I wanted to say was just about consistency with trading. Consistency is really important. And that's just important across life. Trading is like life. You're going to hit a couple bumps in the road. Stuff might not go as planned, but you got to keep pushing forward. You got to have the ambition. You got to have the drive to, keep going. So consistency and just perseverance and trading and everything. But yeah, those are what I wanted to drop in and say. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Odie, man. It's cool because one of the continuing themes that I hear you all say, and we had one of these episodes on late last fall, very similar to this one, and that was very much a recurring theme. Keep your emotions out of it. Risk management. I love the way that you educated us on that, man. That's a very, very core item to make sure we all hear. Risk management. You say, and I almost want you to say it again. He put 100 in to make 300. But he knew that 100, if it goes, it went. But that was part of the whole equation. The emotion was out of it. So I continue to hear that theme, man. I appreciate that.
Don't chase your money. Right? Don't chase it, right?
Exactly. Fellas, before we flip it over to Marty, is there anybody else, Kobe, anybody else wanted to chime in? What's worked for you?
Can I say that Odie the point that he made about not having enough money, that's huge because I never even thought about it like that. Because that's the main thing that's kept me from trading option or investing in options is because I'm like, I can make significant returns trading or buying and selling currencies without having to, let's say, buy a whole share of Amazon, should it hit the strike price. But if you don't want to have to buy the whole, if you can't afford the stock, then like he said, you could always just sell the options and still just do the chart work without having the money to put up. And I think that's golden. Like I'm actually gonna do that now.
I love it.
Yeah.
One thing I want to add to that is just kind of spinning off the whole make sure you have enough money to deal with the actual price of the underlying stock, because the options contracts are based off of that stock price and you're trading the volatility of 100 shares of that. So it's always the right to buy that 100 shares and you get the volatility associated with that, whether it's going up or down. So the whole knowing if you have enough money to put into that, you just want to make sure that you know what you're putting your money into before you kind of do that. And I agree. One thing one of my friends told me, and I wish I kind of followed before getting into it, I had the meaning of I'm going to learn along the way. And if I take some gains from it, then I'd rather those be real than something else that I could have kind of learned with the losses. But paper trading is one way to both get involved in the market and options and whatever other commodities or interests for an exchange markets you may have an interest in is learning. If you want to learn and you don't want to put your own money at risk, you can always create a paper trading account. Most of those funds where you can set up a real account offer that as well. One I'm a fan of is Webull, and then TD Ameritrade or E-Trade is a few accounts where you can just set up and start paper trading before you put any real money at risk.
No, that's a good point. The paper trading I did with Ameritrade was invaluable. There is a delay with some of the paper trading because they don't want to give it to you real time all the time. But yeah, that was invaluable. Good perspective on that because you get to play with not real money, and there's no real benefit, no real reward, no real risk. But it's a huge benefit to learning more about the game. Good point. Anybody else want to offer anything? All right.
I really just had a question about I don't know who's really familiar. I mean, obviously everybody knows or has some familiarity with Bitcoin and crypto. I just wanted to know how you guys are approaching that situation, compare crypto to trading stocks and options. Which one would you invest more in or focus on, or are you diversifying and getting into both of them? So I really want to know what's y'all approach with just the whole crypto game as well.
I believe in diversity. So if you are going to start investing, don't spread yourself too thin, but also try to make sure you have a hand in a couple different pots. So you're not limiting yourself to one trade at a time. So I started getting invested in cryptocurrencies around 2016. I had a friend who was into computer programming. He worked at Cisco. So we would meet up and have different discussions on that during the time. And he basically explained to me the networks behind Bitcoin, Ethereum, Monero, and a couple of other coins that have come out since then. Like you even have institutions with their own coin, Ripple. So I wanted to learn a whole lot about it when it was beginning to be mainstream, and it was like they have a few documentaries on Netflix about Bitcoin where you can kind of learn the history of it and why it was started based off of the last financial collapse. So I do agree that it is kind of a hedge against the markets going down, because that's the intentions behind Bitcoin and some of the other crypto networks out there. So I agree it's worth looking into. Make sure you understand the technologies behind whatever you're investing in. There are a lot of coins out there now that may not serve a useful purpose. So always make sure you know what the intenders or creations of those coins were intending. Like Elon Musk has been pumping Dogecoin, but the person that actually created it as a joke, because the Bitcoin network is an open source code, so anybody can go view the coding for that network and try to create their own coin based off of that. So that's how Dogecoin was founded, and the fact that it's becoming valuable is like a joke on the crypto networks itself. But so just know like the history behind whatever coin you're out there trying to get. I use Gemini as one of my main sources, but Coinbase is another one, and they're about to go public on the stock exchange. So you can actually invest in crypto through owning one of the crypto exchanges eventually. But just knowing, like we've been saying, knowing what you're investing in is one of the key things in the crypto world. And if you're using, there's another coin out there where they're basically trying to sell you the rights or ownership to music. I think it's called Vex. And one of the artists I was listening to who was kind of pushing crypto back in 2016, 2018, Nipsey Hussle, he was saying like this was a coin that I'm getting invested in, and also trying to push those different, just exploring the different networks out there.
Great stuff, man. This leads actually to the next thing that I wanted to get to, because as we have these conversations around all the different facets of the market, whether it's stocks, options, whatever, inclusive of crypto, one of the things that you hear a term, some of you guys touched on it a little bit. I want you to delve into talking about DD, doing your due diligence. And what does that look like? When we talk about due diligence, what is that? Because that's the piece I think that our listening audience that has a level of interest of getting into the market in some form or fashion really needs to have a good understanding of, because if we're going into this just blind, you're probably setting yourself up to lose, right? But I think that the capability that we have as a people is a deep level of understanding once we're giving the information. So how do we do this due diligence? Where do we find the information? So I'll start with you, Jason, because I know that you have the Black Investors Stock group on Facebook, and I've watched that grow. I think we're looking at 12,000 right now.
11.5. We're almost there.
We're looking at 12,000, right?
Yeah.
Very shortly.
5,000. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Of people that are going to this as a resource to find great information as it relates to the market. But let's talk about that a little bit. I'll start with you just in terms of talking about doing your due diligence and what that looks like.
So thank you. So doing your due diligence, it really speaks to you delving into where the company comes from, who is the manager or the management on the C-suite level, on an executive level, what type of partnerships and strategic alliances they're involving their corporations in, let's just take Netflix, for instance. Netflix does a partnership with Amazon. People don't know that, right? The general public doesn't know that Amazon powers Netflix. I know that because I'm a Netflix stockholder, right? But the thing is this, is that I had to do my due diligence due to the fact that I wanted to invest in Netflix. I'm in the streaming space. I understand that Netflix is touting that they are the best, or they're the biggest streaming service domestically as well as internationally. So in terms of before I invest in that particular stock, I literally delve deep and I search as many articles as I can find going back 6 months before I buy this particular stock to see what the culture is, number one, and where they've transitioned, how they've pivoted, if they penetrated the African market. You know, Netflix right now is buying African content, right? So they started to purchase African content over the last year. Now, how is that going to change their position in terms of profitability? So in terms of doing your due diligence, you have to look at those various different pivotal moments that a corporation takes in order to survive and to stay ahead of the curve. Due diligence also speaks to you once you become a stockholder, or if it's a publicly traded company, they do have proxy statements, which are documents that are between 60 to 100 page documents that literally explains what the company is about, who runs the company in layman's, what the company is about, who runs the company, what are their services, and their financials. So I encourage a lot of the beginners to do your due diligence by way of researching and looking at who runs the corporation, because whoever runs the corporation obviously creates the standard of the culture in terms of where they're moving that particular corporation, whether it's a vertical market like, you know, the food and beverage industry, automotive, streaming, so forth, even gaming, you know. So doing your due diligence is very, very key, and reading all of the actual proxy statements. And if you don't know some of the terminology, the great thing about the internet and the great thing about search engines like Google and Bing, you can literally type in the question. I try to promote, asking the question to these search engines. What is a proxy statement? What does due diligence mean in stocks? You can actually ask those questions in these search bars, and you'll see the search engine just gives you a literally an entire array of answers for you, and then you literally can lower your risk because now you know what the actual culture is for that corporation, and especially if you know it. If you know McDonald's, yeah, but one thing, knowing the corporation from the outside is different from knowing the intricacies and how they move and how they work on the inside, which will make you, in my opinion, a better investor. Due diligence.
Great stuff, man.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to jump in on that? Did we lose Justin? Oh, Justin. Hey, Justin. How about you?
Got Ty. I think Ty was trying to lean in too.
Oh, Ty, go ahead, Ty.
Hey, how you guys doing? I was gonna ask, speaking to due diligence, I know like there's a lot of different things you can look up as far as like evaluating stocks, but when looking to like get into the crypto space, not to like say the conversation back there, what are some due diligence items you can do there that kind of tell you whether or not this is a good cryptocurrency to invest in? I know there's a lot of different ones coming out, and with social media driving a lot of that conversation and influencing a lot of people. I wanted to ask about what are ways you can educate yourself on. Is this a good investment from a crypto standpoint?
I'll speak to that for just a split second, and I'll throw it to Justin, the younger generation. With cryptocurrency, in terms of doing your due diligence, find out, what the cryptocurrency was built off of, why it was built, right? And then find out how many entities are accepting the cryptocurrency. Look at the marketplace in terms of states, countries. Okay, type in government, see whether or not governments are either leaning towards accepting this whole crypto space, accepting Bitcoin, lean towards the understanding of how many Bitcoins are out there to be mined. Because what a lot of people don't know is that 20 plus million crypto, 21 million, right, Bitcoin is out there for the world to grab, right? And it's about, if you guys can do the research, it's only 3 million Bitcoins left to be mined. So for my position, yes, do I own Bitcoin? Of course, right? A lot of my friends do too. But from a Black perspective, I'm like, you know what? I noticed that there's a lot of miners, right, that are mining actual Bitcoin. Well, you know what? We can mine also for the first time. Well, we can actually obtain Bitcoin for free if we mine. And the software is out there. The rigs are out there, which are the servers, the hardware, the hardware out there. It's out there, and you literally can obtain it in your home, you know, for a couple of $100. The only downside to mining, right, is the electricity cost, right? So the average, if you mine one Bitcoin, it might cost you $5,000 just to mine one Bitcoin. Okay. So, but if you mine a Bitcoin, and you have a buyer on the other end, like a Elon Musk or, you know, a Nigerian who's buying Bitcoins right now at $76,000 a token, you can do it. But at the end of the day, just find out, you know, where the Bitcoin is being sold, who's accepting the Bitcoin. PayPal right now, they just released that they're accepting Bitcoin, which is amazing. So the more people accept it, obviously, the more demand it is. So, Justin?
Yep, just kind of piggybacking off of that acceptance thing is the more people out there using the coin or whatever cryptocurrency you want to invest in, the more valuable it does become. And then in terms of researching or doing the due diligence on these coins, every cryptocurrency should have what's called a white paper, which is basically the paper explaining the terminology, use cases, and network behind that system. So with Bitcoins, I believe Satoshi Nakamura, he published a white paper for the coin and then released the coins out into the network and said, this is how you can, like you said, mine for it or become a person actually owning and operating the network, or you can actually purchase the coins and just hold them in a wallet offline somewhere. So every white paper should explain exactly what this network is, whether it's centralized or decentralized. The whole thing about Bitcoin is a decentralized network, like you said, where anybody can set up a mining rig or operation and start mining for those Bitcoins themselves and helping the network operate. There's some other coins out there where it's not a decentralized network like Ripple, where there's only a few institutions or stakeholders that are able to mine and operate the network, even though everybody can buy and sell those coins. So just know the differences between decentralized and centralized is one of the best places to start. And then also knowing which companies or cryptocurrencies are being published and pumped to the public, either for a specific use case, or if it's going to be something that you know is actually going to be beneficial and can last in the long run. Bitcoin is lasting because it was one of the first options out there for people to buy and send money across the world for a very low cost. That was one of its original purposes, was if I'm in America and somebody's in Africa, or I have family out of the country somewhere and I need to send them something so that they can buy the goods and needs wherever they're at, this is going to be the cheapest way to do it. Ethereum's network is more so we have contracts or people that we say we want to do a more complicated business structure and we want to make sure it's tracked on this network. So different use cases are out there. Just knowing what the white paper publishes as that use case would be it.
This is some just, man, and I want to thank Attorney Davis for how he started. He started specifically with specific questions and specific ways to dig into learning some of these things. And I will say, you know, I know every session we have, I'm like, oh man, this has been the most this, the most that. But I will venture to say this has probably been one of the more educational sessions that we've had, where we've really dropped some learning on people that even the brothers on the panel are asking each other. You know, it's like, hey, we're all learning here, so that's great. So a couple things I want to do is, one, we're going to get ready to flip it back to Marty and wind it up. So one more question, we're going to do that. Two, before I get to the question, I would like, as we wrap it up, and I don't know, Marty, how you want to do this, but there's so much knowledge to be had out there, and all of you guys are parts of such powerful stock groups, investment groups, organizations, what have you. We want to be able to share that information so the conversation doesn't end tonight. So, Marty, I'm gonna kind of like, as I ask this last question, kind of throw that to you to how we best should do that, get some of these organizations' names and such. And finally, what I want to do is ask this one question that came from YouTube. Now, let me just say this. There are several questions from Facebook and a few from YouTube, and we're going to wind it down here. So the questions that we're not asking from the team tonight, that's why we have to get y'all's information, because we want to address it. We have engagement tonight, and we don't want to leave folks hanging. So to all the people on YouTube and to all the folks on Facebook that ask this question, we're going to get you. We got you. We're going to get you some information. The last question we're going to ask for the evening before we flip it to Marty, however, is somebody from YouTube, Cheese Mandugo, asks, is anyone using Fibonacci ratios? Fibonacci ratios. Is anybody using Fibonacci ratios?
Yeah. So I was gonna mention that. So it's like, a lot of the due diligence Jason mentioned, were for investing in stocks, but I'm more of a technical trader. So it's like, when I say a technical trader, I analyze and enter positions in the market based on what I see the market doing from a price perspective. So to put it in simple terms, I look at the market making certain shapes, patterns, maybe reaching certain levels that it tends to reject off of, and just, utilizing trend lines, resistance levels, just utilizing shapes and just pure price action to enter positions on a day-to-day basis. I'm in and out within a day. So Fibonacci ratios, that falls within technical trading. So it's interesting. There's a YouTube video. You could go watch it. The Fibonacci ratio is something that's actually like in a lot of places. Like apparently, if you measure from here to the tip of your finger, it like from here to here, from here to here, it all aligns to the ratio, your DNA. Long story short, it's a number sequence. And pertaining to the market tends to move according to this number sequence as well. So if you're a technical trader who is focusing on what price is doing, what levels it's at, the rejections it's making, the levels it's breaking above, Fibonacci helps because essentially it's a tool to help you see where price can gravitate back to. So it sounds really confusing, but it's really not, you know what I'm saying? For instance, let's just say price broke out from $1 to $3, right? And I'm like, wow, all right, price just broke out to the upside. I can use a Fibonacci tool to say, all right, price just broke out from $1 to $3. I'm going to use my Fibonacci tool to draw this tool from $1 to $3. And essentially the levels will give me a good idea of where I can anticipate price pulling back down to before continuing in that direction. So price just broke out to the upside. I want to buy, but I'm not going to buy all the way up here. I'm going to draw my fib. I'm going to use my Fibonacci tool, and that's going to help me know that, okay, based off of this move, you can anticipate price pulling back down to, let's say, $1.50 before heading even higher to $5. And so, that's the best way I could kind of put that and how you use it. But it's definitely very helpful.
Awesome. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brother David.
Man, just a really, really quick question for all you guys before we begin to wrap up. And this is, I think Brother Barker mentioned it. This is the kind of engagement that we we look for Black Man Lab, and you, all of y'all brothers are so knowledgeable and willing to share your information. Question, do you guys, can people say, hey, I'm new to this, I'd like to learn from you, or I'd like to invest when you invest, or, you know, are you coaches in that way? I don't know what's the term? Does that exist? Is that something that you guys do in terms of helping other people, or you know, hiring, you know, your services out? I don't know if you can do any of that. Just putting it out there.
So I'll attack that really quick. So my schedule is very, very, very busy. I'm a serial entrepreneur. And so I said, in order to give value to my people, let me create this particular group in which I can just, you know, throughout my travels, because I'm bicontinental between the U.S. and Asia. And so I, you know, I can just get on my mobile device and just literally post something that I think would give value, and keep on posting, you know, various different definitions, and just keep on bringing people together where we can engage in real time. And that, because of the way algorithms work in the back end, I understand how algorithms work, especially with social networking. I realize that it's been very helpful for me in order to deliver value to the group, especially when you have over 10,000 people now that follow me, and they want, you know, I get it a lot. So the best answer from my perspective is, hey, listen, if you want some information or some value from me directly, I try to answer as much as I can. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a serial entrepreneur in the tech space. But what I can do, what I can deliver, is a group where other brothers, like on this panel, can come in and give their, you know, their experiences and their advice, and obviously their positive opinions with no judgment, because everyone's coming on different levels. And then I chime in and I basically give my information. But the thing is that with investing, it's not just all about buying stocks and trading options. From my perspective, it's understanding how to protect your assets as well. You know, us as people of color, specifically Black Americans, us literally taking out wills, taking out irrevocable trusts, learning that aspect of protecting whatever money we make off of the stock market, off of day trading and options. How do we take those gains and really protect it? And that's where I come from in terms of giving value to our people.
How do we get to your group? People are asking on Facebook and YouTube. How do they tap in?
Sure. It's just go to Facebook and type in Black Investor Stock Group, and we pop up. We're trending. We post about now 190 posts a day. And everybody in the group is very, very inviting. Everyone is warm. If you have a question, any question, there is somebody in the group that will answer the question. And in fact, there's probably more than one person that will give you different strategies. And I think Marty can speak to that. You know, people will answer. So go to Black Investor Stock Group. We are getting ready to launch our investment arm. So we're going to become an institutional investment group where we can invest as a group, as a unified front, in various different corporations that target Black Americans, like your Netflixes, like, you know, Clorox, so forth and so on, so that we can, you know, do some long-term investing.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Molly, real quick, about the Black Investors Stock Group. The beautiful thing about it is that it's a plethora of information, and you can get a bunch of different angles on whatever your question may be from people that have been doing it for a long time. But then likewise, you'll get where there's people that are newer to investing in some form or fashion, and they can give you their real life experiences. The other great thing about it is that the group does not allow for BS, right? So, you know how a lot of times there's different groups that you know, people get in and they want to start talking about stuff politically. They want to start talking about, you know, all kind of just stuff that doesn't relate to the topic matter. This is strictly about investing and about us investing in ourselves as Black folks. So that's one of the things that I loved about it. My mom got into it. I got my mom on it, and she's all over.
Thank God.
Yeah.
God bless your mother.
Yeah, she's all over it. So again, that's Black Investors Stock Group. It's on Facebook. So if you all are listening in, just go there. And if you have questions, feel free to hit the Black Man Lab, and we'll direct you there as well. Go ahead, Mal.
Justin, Nana, do you all have any way that people can lean in with you guys, or do you have that kind of setup, or
I'm happy to give my number out and my email out.
Maybe email, because this is being broadcast.
Oh, for real?
They'll blow you up, man. This is worldwide, man. So we're expecting people to see this into the future.
Okay, yeah. So you can reach me by my email at profitpinvestments@gmail.com. So profitpinvestments@gmail.com. Instagram is at Nana Montana. So NANAMONTTANA. I made that a long time ago. So
and profit being profit as in PORFIT, or?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Profit as in the dollar signs. Yep.
Good. All right. Justin.
Yes, I can be reached on social medias. I will be looking to drop them in the chat, as well as my email. If you want, so for me and my friends, we started a kind of social networking group at first through text, and as we expanded to a bigger circle, we started a Slack channel and group for people to join and ask questions, as well as kind of place their interest in bets. Some of us are not certified financial analysts, but we are looking to move into the profession of day trading full time, and then others, some of them do have actual certification in investing in the group. So everybody's always willing and accepting to new people joining in.
Share your social media handles real quick for the people who are watching on YouTube and Facebook.
Okay.
You can find us on Chaser University on Instagram.
Chaser University.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Okay. And Justin, you were at on Twitter _just_wins. Yep. And on Instagram, you are just_wins.
Yes.
All right.
And I could drop my email as well.
All right. Just yell it out real quick.
Justin Winston 16@gmail.com.
Justin Winston 16@gmail.com. Cool. Y'all can expect folk to be hitting you all, folk that might be my age or older or younger. We appreciate it, everyone. And I'll turn it back over to Marty so that we can begin our wrap up. And clearly, we're running over.
We're a little bit over our time as normal, but this information was too important for us not to share it tonight. And I will say that I expect that we would come together again to share this even more in depth in the future. So I'm going to lean on you three for sure to do that. But one of the things that we do every week is that we want to make sure that those that are listening and those that we are trying to help to matriculate into their best, whatever they're going to be in life, has an understanding that there's work that happens every day to get you to where you're at. And so what we do is we ask about your habits, rituals, and disciplines, things that you do on a daily basis that keep you moving forward, right? So your habits, your rituals, and your disciplines, things that you do every day that keeps you a bright mind and helps you move forward. If you guys think about that real quick, I'm just going to go around real quick and ask you, Justin, I'll start with you. What are your daily habits, rituals, and disciplines?
One thing I'm looking to get more into and have probably consistently done a little better this year is waking up early to prepare for the day as things go about overnight, and some early morning changes may happen to kind of throw off any positions you took the day or week before. So I like to be up as early as I can to catch up on all current events and news, and then just trying to stay disciplined during the day, taking those breaks and not focusing so much on the minute-to-minute activity, as it's all about the time, not the timing, and we can't get caught up in the minute details if we're focusing on the ups and downs all day.
Early day. What's the early day for you now, Justin?
Early days, looking to get up around 7 and start with either something refreshing, like something nice to kind of get the appetite going, or doing a small workout just to kind of, make sure I'm energized, and some light stretches. And I'm not old yet, but I want to avoid getting there as much as I can. So just trying to keep myself young and healthy.
Hey, man, you got a couple of cats on here that get real angry. You talking about you getting old. Okay, so let's be careful, all right?
Yeah. Man, we have yet to hear anybody come on. Everybody who's come on says they get up early. Everybody. No late sleepers, man, for greatness. It just doesn't. No late sleepers. I hear that over and over again. Thank you, Doug.
Nana, how about you?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a million habits that I wish I could stay more consistent with, but one thing that I would say is I pray every morning. I wake up early, pray every morning, just take some time to just think about the day, think about the things I'm grateful for, and just, what I'm doing for. And so I think that's a good way to start. It's helped me a lot more than just waking up and looking at my phone, checking my messages, all the alerts. I think that just kind of throws your body off the rip. So, now I kind of just wake up and just have my own little do not disturb time, and just thank God, really, and so I think that's big for me. Absolutely, man.
That you find that spiritual time early in the day is your propellers in the rest of the day, right? When you allow that free space just between you and your creator, it does something special to allow for creativity to run through you, as well as having your focus where it needs to be. So great stuff, man. Jason, how about you?
I love that. Yeah, I love that gratitude, man. I started this gratitude journal piece, so every morning just writing what I'm grateful for. So I love that, man, because if you start out grateful, man, how can you go wrong, right? But if you start out pissed off that I got to get up this early, that's okay, you want that kind of day? I'll get that day too.
Right. Yeah. I tell you what, and nowadays, man, that should be your first thing, right? How many people are not waking up every day? So that should be your first thing. You wake up, you see the sun outside or no sun outside, you should be smiling and happy, and that should be propelling you throughout the day, man. Jason, how about you, brother?
So I wake up early. I wake up around 5 because I do international business. And before I even touch my phone, I pray. I lost my mother recently, so I speak to her a lot now, and I speak to my ancestors because I was raised in a Garveyite home. We study the teachings of the great Marcus Garvey, as well as the great Dr. Ben Yackerman, Dr. John Henry Clark. I was raised in a Black national home, and so I talk to the ancestors before I start my day. So by the time, 6 a.m. rolls around, I've taken my vitamins, I've meditated. And that was the beautiful thing about living. I lived in India, so I learned how to meditate, especially when I come from Harlem. So it's like, you can suffer from PTSD. So it's like, I need something to release. So by me learning how to meditate, it allowed me to really channel my energy to start my day. And then because I'm on the computers a lot, my eyes they can mess with you, they can burn. So my habits, it has been, and I finally broke it, is just to stay on the computer for 7 hours and not move, physically writing software, typing, and having like 5 screens open. So I've kind of figured out how to break away from that and just kind of like what Justin does, work out. But I work out throughout the course of the day while I'm on the phone, and then I'll take a power nap. So that's my discipline, and to make sure that I literally call as many people as I can back and have at least 5 to 10 minute conversations with at least 20 to 30 people daily. That's my discipline, because that's how much business I'm doing. But I have to meditate and talk to God to help me.
I guess so. If you're talking to that many people for that long every day, you gotta have your spiritual home proper, man. And I'll say that, our first conversation, man, we almost talked for 2 hours, didn't we?
Yes, it was a beautiful conversation. I truly enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Marty hadn't stopped talking about that conversation, Jason. You made a very, very strong impression. So we're looking forward to continue to connect with you too, brother.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm honored to meet more brothers. I'm just so honored to be on this panel with brothers who are younger than me. I come from a world where, we weren't talking about stocks and bonds, and, we weren't talking about technology. I was labeled the hood nerd, because I had the biggest computer uptown, and my mother was a computer engineer. So now to be here in this present day and time and talk to more brothers that look like me, you know what I mean? It's very, very emotional for me. It's fulfilling. And to be, in tech now, when I started my company, when it was a lot of racism in Silicon Valley, and still is, we don't even make up 1% in terms of black tech companies that own anything in Silicon Valley. So, I encourage all the brothers on here. If you're going to get into tech, you're going to get into the space of investing, and you are in the space of investing, please give the information out, teach more brothers and sisters, teach them, and be aggressive, be intentional, and to learn it, and to really, really hold and hone in your skills so that, you can own your intellectual property. Period. The end. You got to own your intellectual property, because they will take it. I own 9 patents. I've had technology stolen from me. I made 7 video games before the age of 18. I had deals on the table with Sony, Activision, the list goes on and on. It doesn't matter if I didn't know how to protect it. So if we're in this space, the young brothers are listening and watching, you're in this space, take it from somebody who's not a hidden figure anymore, who's now on the same playing field, in the same arena of other black inventors and black technologists who own patents. Study how to protect your ideas, and you'll be fine. Thank you.
Appreciate you again, Jason. Thanks so much for all the knowledge you dropped.
Thank you.
Jason, Justin, and Nana, I would ask y'all, if you can, to join the Black Investor Stock Group, to be able to give some of that information that you have, because there's going to be people that are looking for that knowledge that you guys have, man. It's a great place for you guys you can dip in and out, man. You can drop some knowledge on people and get in and out, man. It'll be good for you, and it'll be good for us as a community. So if you could do that, that would be great.
And if I could just interject, and to Justin and Nana, we're getting ready to launch our Instagram profile, because everyone's asking us for Instagram. So I would definitely love to invite you brothers to talk to you guys about launching our Instagram portion of the business. So let's definitely, as we say, tap in nowadays, right? They say tap in, right? Let's tap in and bring some. I can't really run the Instagram. It's just too much. But a lot of people on Instagram, and people are asking for our Instagram. So we do have the Instagram, and I would love to talk to you guys about figuring out how we can give value to our people on Instagram as well.
Okay.
Hey, Nana, where's Chaser at Chaser University? I thought it was a Twitter.
Chaser University. That's my Instagram.
Oh, that's your IG. Okay.
Yeah. So I used to have an online course. Right now the website is down. I'm kind of just building. I've just been in grind mode, but I have a whole course where I teach people Right now, I'm not necessarily taking students, but I'm free to give free knowledge. If you reach out, you know, I'll definitely.
All right, I'm following you on IG now, man. I'm here. I'm about to get with you, Justin. So I'm trying to tap in.
Molly, you so young, man. You so young. Tap it in, bro.
I'm trying to stay up, brothers. So y'all, we have a tradition of closing out, and I just want to give it up for Marty and Joe. These brothers are consistent in holding space for our young people and they find the talent. You know, they like Conrad Worrell used to say, I found you, you know, like y'all were lost somewhere, and Baba Conrad would say, I found your ass, boy. So, you know, these brothers find the talent, bring it to Black Man Lab so that all of everybody who's a part of Black Man Lab benefit from their hard work and their relationships that they leverage. So salute Joe and Brother Marty, man, and Kobe helped curate this one. So young Kobe Davis getting his HU brother.
Appreciate that, Kobe.
So,
thank you, guys.
Kobe,
Thanks for the invite.
So this is a beautiful panel, man. Intergenerational, which is what we always want. So with that, we close in tradition. We ask that you unmute yourself, that you come on the screen. We are locking arms right now. So we are locking arms, and this is a tradition from one of our queen mothers, Injiri Alghani, here from Atlanta, based in Atlanta, but originally from Detroit, a leader in our reparations movement within Cobra. So we lock arms, and she would tell us that I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We are
links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
And we won't break here.
Ashe.
Thank you, brothers.
Thank you again. And as I said before, we will definitely tap in with you all again here on the Black Man Lab to get your knowledge, because usually when we have a topic like this, it winds up at some point in some form or fashion repeating.
Yeah.
So we will definitely bring you all back for that, as well as any other thing that we can think that you can help with our community, man. So go ahead, Molly.
I just want us to lift up the name Adam Sadid. Adam played ball with my sons and Kerry Mills's basketball team. Adam was murdered on yesterday in South Carolina. His dad, Craig Sadid, I spoke with him today, and we just want to lift the young brother up. He would have turned 23 in the next few days, and so let's just lift that family up. He went to Savannah State. He played ball there, and just a bright kid, bright star, taken too soon. So we just never forget why we do what we do, to try to create a space where other young brothers will honor each other's lives and won't be so quick to pull the trigger on another. So just to lift that up so that will resonate out there in the universe. So Adam.
For sure.
Adam, we love you, brother. Rest in heaven, bro.
Rest well, brother. You're now an ancestor. So with that, man, thank you all. Much love to you. And Black Man Lab loves you, and we look forward to doing more of this. So thanks again.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you for
guys.
Peace and love.
Have a good
Peace and love, brother.